Hello and welcome to another episode from the Water's Edge, and you catch up with us today on the banks of a local day ticket carp water, but we're not actually targeting carp. What we're after today I'm going to label as, let's say, the neglected or the forgotten species of carp waters, which is roach. Quite often you find that certainly venues like this, there's a lot of carp anglers fish. High protein baits like boilies, pellets, they go in an absolute abundance, and then there's loads of roach feeding on that, which can sometimes produce some specimen roach that people just purely forget about and they're never really targeted. So it's worth trying. If you're a local carp water, you feel they might be in there, give it a go, because it may be just the same as this one here. So that's the plan today. We've already got 2 rods fishing, and the swim we're fishing is actually called the Bar. And believe it or not, the name is given for an obvious reason. It's about 40-50 yards out. There's a nice gravel bar which runs right across the middle of this peg, and that's where we've got a couple of rods fishing. If you can find yourself a nice gravelly area, roach are normally happy to feed on that. So what I'm going to do is I've just knocked up a little mix here that I'm going to fire out probably 4 or 5 spoms over the top, just to try and kick the session off a little bit. Now, looking at this, you might think this is a bit sort of specialist, and if you really want to hammer the roach, you perhaps would just put in maggots and casters perhaps, but because we want to target specimen roach, we want to really pick out the bigger ones if we can. This has got some boilies in it, some hemp, some pellets, a bit of corn, and then obviously maggots and casters as well. So it's a real mixture to try and hopefully encourage something a bit bigger to have a bit of a feed up. So that's the plan for now. What I'm going to do is pick up the spod rod, get 5 or 6 of these over the top of the area, and hopefully it won't be too long before some action's coming our way. Well, there we go, the first fish of the session has just trundled away. A nice little roach bite, real twitchy on the bobbin. It's taken perhaps 4 or 5 casts to keep him going every sort of 15 minutes, but yeah, we're connected to one now. I don't think it's particularly big, but it's a start, so it means the spot's right, and hopefully the rigs are going to be working. So I'm going to concentrate on getting this one in. Oh, he's not even a roach, it's a perch, but it's a start. There's definitely fish in the area. Well, it's not what we're after, but it's a fish. Still another bite, and it feels a lot heavier. Now, I know we're roach fishing, we've had a perch to start with. I've got a real bad feeling this is a bream, so I don't really hope that it's not 2 fish caught and not one of the intended species yet. There's definitely gonna, there's definitely plenty of roach in here, and we're in a good area. We know they've been caught from here before, but it just, I don't know, this feels too heavy to be a roach. But like I said, because we haven't caught one today and I haven't fished for one for a while in here, you never know. So I'm going to take it easy, see what comes up, and if it is a roach, I think it could be quite a nice one, but I'm going to bank on it being a bream if I'm honest. Well, I might get something right in a minute. It's not a bream, it's a tench. But I'm well having it. I love tench. I've got a mega soft spot for him. And to be honest with you, it gave up a bit of a better fight than I thought a bream would. But I didn't really know that there was that many tench in here. And for an autumn tench, that is wicked. I mean, I would 100% come and target these. They're one of my favourite fish to catch any time of the year, but certainly when they're a surprise and they just come out of nowhere, they are very, very welcome. But not a roach, is it? So we'll get him slipped back, we'll put a few more feeders out there and see if we can't strike third time lucky for the intended species. There's the third bite of the day, and I still don't think it's a roach. The bite was probably a bit too good, quite fast, pulled a bit of line off, and then it just feels too heavy to be a roach. I'd love it to be another tench, to be honest, but it's coming in a little bit easy in the last one, so we could have now probably ticked off all the other species in this lake apart from a carp and the roach that we're after, because I'm pretty sure this one is going to be a bream. I know I said that last time, but this time it's just a more heavyweight and it's just coming in. So, you know, it's a funny old roach fishing session. It's a good day's sport and I'm enjoying catching fish and getting bites, but quite often it does mean, you know, roach fishing, quite often you catch them as the light phase. It gets a bit light later on in the day, so fingers crossed for that if we don't pick any up a bit earlier. But I'm going to concentrate on getting this in because it looks like a nice sort of nice bream, and he'll certainly do for a bit of action in our day. Well, I said at the start of the video that we're fishing for the forgotten species of these carp lakes, and probably the 3 fish that we've caught would come under that category. And if we could just nick ourselves a roach, then we've got the full house. But we're catching fish, that's all that matters. So we'll get this one slipped back and see if we can't catch that intended species. Well, it's been a decent start, certainly plenty of fish on the spot, so that's the main thing. But just while we're out of the water, it's a perfect time to talk you through the rig. Now, it's really simple. Obviously the hardware, just got a specimen style rod, a little small 4000 bait runner, and then £6 line, and then we come on to a really simple helicopter rig. So just a tiny little helicopter setup, a short sort of 4 or 5 inch fluorocarbon hook link, and then a small size 12 hook, and then that's just a little separation to a closed type maggot feeder. Now the difference, or the separation gap you choose here, is completely up to you. I like to put it about, I don't know, nearly a foot, around about a foot, but basically as long as your rig can't tangle anywhere near your feeder, then it's pretty foolproof really. It doesn't go wrong, and as it says, helicopter rig, that just literally spins round on the cast and sits there nice and proud. A real devastating rig, and to be fair, I use this for 80-95% probably of my specimen style fishing. For anything, this is what I chuck out there, and all I'm doing is putting 3 or 4 maggots on the hook, loading this up full of maggot, and clipped up onto the spot, and it's just a case of regular cast is key here, and keep action coming. So I'm going to get that done now, get it on the spot, and hopefully there's another one around the corner. Roach friends where all the bait is. Well, for the last hour probably, the lake has really woken up and we're now into another fish. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a tench. We still haven't managed to catch the elusive roach. We've had a fair few number of perch, a few bream, probably 4 or 5 tench. Like I said, it has been so good, and bearing in mind we're in autumn, nearly winter, it's really shocked me. But let's be honest, we've had a real nice day. It's been sort of mid-teens today, so the fishing is probably related a bit to the good weather. But it's when it's hard other times in other places like carp fishing, I've not seen anyone catch one today. Just doing something like this has been really enjoyable, and we have still got a few hours to hopefully perhaps snare one of those roaches as it gets darker. That's when probably my chances are going to increase, but I'm going to concentrate on getting this one in. It has been such a crazy time, like I said, but certainly these tench, I mean, I would happily, like I've said before, would come and target these, and I probably will come back here and do it because I just didn't know they were in here, to be honest. So very good sport. That's a proper tench. I might even weigh that one. I'm just going to slip this hook out and I'll get my scales ready. Well, at an ounce or two under £8, that is a mega tench, and I'm already, my head is ticking, thinking what about coming back for these in the spring when they're real big weights. I mean, there could very well be double figure tension here I didn't even know about. But the plan for now while we're fishing is I've had an awful lot of perch in that mental sort of hour, and I think now with the light fading, I've probably got an hour or so left of fishing. I'm going to take a maggot off one rod and put a small boilie on and hope in the chance that we could finish it off with a roach. I mean, tench like this and the bream, they're still going to pick them up, but it would certainly stop the perch on one rod, and it gives me a little chance of keeping the rod in there a bit longer to see if we can have an evening roach. But I'm going to get this one slipped back. Couple of fresh baits out there. I'm going to pick the spot rod up, 3 or 4 more spawns, and see what the last hour brings. Well, that's it. As you can see, we're loaded and back in the car. Unfortunately, we stayed in pretty much until it was dark, expecting one chance to catch a few roach, but perhaps it just wasn't a roach fishing day. I'm not going to complain at all. The fishing has been really good, and I've had a few surprises that I didn't know actually lived in those lakes. So as I said at the start of the video, the neglected or the forgotten species of day ticket carp waters can certainly give you some good sport, especially as this weather gets colder. Now, I'll be back for those tench, and I promise you I'm going to be back for those roach. I'm not going to quit at that there. So it doesn't leave me an awful lot left to say, apart from I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, but for now, we'll see you again on the next one.